Good morning, everybody. We call this Personnel Ways and Means Committee meeting to order. First item of business, you've all had a chance to review the minutes in your packet. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
No. Support.
Moved and supported. Any comments, questions, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. Minutes are approved. Next item of business, we have public comment on any agenda item. I don't have any note that anybody wants to speak. Is there any comment on any agenda item? There'll be a second chance for public comment at the end of the meeting. Seeing no public comment, we will move on. Next, we will take a look at the employment changes. Or wait, board appointment, excuse me. I slipped down too far on my list. We have one highly controversial appointment. It's being recommended that we continue to keep Administrator Murphy in the smart zone position. Do I have a motion to recommend that forward?
Support.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next, we will go to the employment changes. Anything you want to draw our attention to here, Administrator Murphy?
No, these are the normal new hires that we've had, our terminations for the month, and then those that have made changes within the county from one position to another.
Super. Any questions? Okay, we'll move. Ralph?
Yeah, let's take care of the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Idea.
Well, if there's a motion to approve the agenda as printed,
So moved.
Support.
okay, all in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Ralph.
Yep.
Employee anniversaries. This is always amazing to see how long of an employment place we seem to be for so many people in the community. Kim, did you have any comments you'd like or highlights?
The one I would like to make a comment on the one, if it's okay, Sheriff, if you don't mind. We do have two employees that are really up there. We have one at Mauriceburg campus, 32 years, and we have another who is in dispatch, central dispatch for 31 years. And I just want to recognize, and I'm sure the sheriff will do more, and I know we've recently recognized her, but Corinne Purdue has been with the county for a very long time, and I believe this Friday or next Friday, this Friday? Okay.
But Lieutenant Purdue is retiring, and I think she did it on purpose, the short notice, so that she didn't have to go through all the hoopla. But we are going to miss her, and it's we got big shoes to fill there. So yes.
So that would be the one thing I wanted to point out is we've recently heard from her. I think she was recognized not too terribly long ago for all of her years of service. And I think she has had something come up, and so she is going ahead and exercising her right to retire next Friday.
Absolutely.
That
Are
was-
you having some sort of recognition? Open houses?
For her?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing something next week. I'll get more information out to you. So kind of putting it together pretty quick.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Any other questions on employee anniversaries? Any other comments? Okay, is there any other personnel business? Seeing none, I'll ask Administrator Murphy to brief us on this next request under personnel.
This next request is coming to you from the Health Department, and it is to reclassify a sanitary 1 position to a sanitary 2 position. We have a number of departments. We did this not too terribly long ago at the Public Defender's Office, where employees come in and they come in at an entry-level position. And then once they receive the certification that they're required to get, they move into the next level. And that's the same thing that is done here at the Health Department. They have someone that came in as a sanitarian 1, and they have taken care of all of the educational and credentialing requirements that are needed. And so the request is to recommend the reclassification of the sanitary 1 at pay grade NU 7533 to sanitarian 2 at pay grade NU 7536.
Motion to move forward.
Support.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Thank you. Next, we'd ask Administrator Murphy to brief us on the finance reports.
I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. I just want to mention also, we are still in the process of our audit. Mr. Zamolzak and his team are doing a fine job in getting everything to our auditor so that we can get that completed. In fact, I was just talking to one of our auditors this morning who said everything is looking pretty good, so that's encouraging. And we are expecting to be able to have that presentation in August at your Board of Commissioners meeting. So as we move through, I'm just going to say the general fund income statement, which was run as of April 30th. Our revenue totals right now are just over 4.4 million, and our expense totals are just over 14 million. A reminder, you're going to see that upside down figure for a little while until our taxes start coming in, our property taxes. And these are also tracking at about the same percentage as they did last year, which is encouraging, showing that we're budgeting just pretty much like we did last year. As we move on to the fund equity changes report, just a reminder that in county government, we have a multitude of different types of funds. The first fund category is called our governmental funds, and it consists of our special revenue funds, our debt service funds, our capital project funds. And in this category, we are seeing year-to-date revenues of just over 15.7 million and expenditures just over 29.8 million. As we move on to the fund category, proprietary funds, these are the different types of business funds, I guess you could say, that we have, called the enterprise funds and internal service funds. So the total for our enterprise or proprietary funds, show year-to-date revenues of 10.4 million and year-to-date expenditures of 8.3 million. So a grand total for all of the county funds, year-to-date revenues are at 26.1 million with year-to-date expenditures at 38.1 million. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer those.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. I can brief us on this next one. If I get in trouble, you can bail me out. Our public defender's office are not insured through MMRMA, who offers our liability insurance for the bulk of the rest of the county governments, my understanding. Last year, we had an agreement with James River for $17,157, and that policy expires in 2 days. We've got a new quote, which you've had a chance to review in your packet. This will 14,000 of it will be included in the Indigent Defense Commission budget and is fully reimbursable. The remaining 3,000 and change will be applied to the Child Protection Legal Representation Grant for the 2 attorneys that work with children and families involved in abuse and neglect cases. The remaining $2,363 balance will be covered by general fund. So the request we have today is to recommend accepting the quote from James River Insurance in the amount of $17,333.23 for professional liability insurance at the Public Defender's Office, to recommend that to the full board.
Support.
Commissioner Stimson?
I noticed in reviewing the insurance policy that there's a disciplinary proceeding coverage rider that is added to this, which typically in the past, we've not always covered those, particularly for other branches of government. I'm wondering, why would we include ethical violations or wrongful acts on this insurance policy?
Don't really have an answer of why we do on this one versus other ones, other than in this particular case with the public defenders and us, the insurance that has been coming through has always included that.
Would it make sense to exclude it and reduce the premium cost? And this is an ethical rule violation that's an intentional act on their own. That's what this rider would coverage. Just don't know why the taxpayer would be covering wrongful and ethical acts of someone.
I don't know if removing that would reduce the premium. The deadline for this, our current coverage expires.
Day after tomorrow.
Correct.
I appreciate that, but this is when it was brought to us.
Well, any other comments? I think it's also true that if we make a change, they can issue us a credit, like usually happens with my insurance policy if we decide to pursue that question at a later date. Commissioner Collins?
Just for knowledge, do you have any idea of the amount of reduction that would exist?
I mean, I can tell you what it costs from a private firm standpoint, which is substantial, but I can't tell you what the governmental rate would be. I just don't know. It's just typically because these are intentional acts by the attorney that would be in question. That's rules of the professional conduct violations. So these are things where they did something unethical, and they're being grieved for their law license typically. So we've traditionally not included this, for instance, with the judges. That's not been something we covered in the past. So I was curious to see why it wasn't covered with the public defender's office. We typically don't always cover it. I don't think we cover it with the prosecutor's office either, but I bring it up because I don't, whether we do it now or we do it in the future, or we can agree with the contract and then remove that, usually with a notice requirement. It doesn't seem appropriate to be covering those types of things. They make a wrongful act, they should pay for it themselves. And the legal representation. I bring it up because in the past, one particular person I can recall had a six-figure number that we had to pay on behalf of that and ethical rule violations.
Mr. Galuli and then Commissioner Van Doren.
From my experience in having represented the State Appellate Defender Office under policies of insurance similarly, if the price with regard to denying the coverage is not great, I would recommend keeping it simply because in cases involving public defenders, the number of grievances filed by former clients or current clients arising out of criminal matters, a large number of them are without any merit whatsoever. And I think it would assist your public defender's office as a whole to have that policy of insurance so that they can appoint an attorney to get to the root of whatever the grievance is and protect their interests in that regard. There's a very high number of post-conviction grievances that are filed alleging ethical issues, things of that nature against public defenders these days.
Thank you. Commissioner Van Doren, any comment?
That answered my question.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Stimson.
My last statement on that. Yeah, but John, you know, the process of that is a request for investigation from the AGC associated with that, which is a one-page written request typically that's responded by the attorney themselves, not by legal counsel who gets appointed. And that 99% of those go away right there and there. And this would more likely be when they issue an actual complaint, which was that they substantiated after an investigation, and then we would go seek counsel. So I appreciate there's a high number of grievances that are filed in criminal cases, particularly in criminal defense cases. However, the vast majority of them are taken care of on a preliminary level that does not involve legal counsel or representation at all. That's just how that process works. So this is involving when we actually have to hire a lawyer to defend the complaint that's been substantiated now by the state AGC office and are moving forward with punishment towards that attorney. That's typically when an attorney gets hired. So it's not your everyday person who's just grieving you. Every lawyer gets those regularly because somebody on the other side was upset, or some opposing counsel was angry, or some opposing party was angry, or some random person who's a brother related to the party twice removed files one. There's very little screening of those things. So it's not something that really would be detrimental to the public. You want to put a pin in it, maybe send that back for discussion in criminal justice in the future. We have had substantial six-figure numbers that we've had to fork out in legal representation on these types of policies in the past. So I do not support those types of coverages because of our exposure.
Commissioner Collins.
As I understand it, we are under a time constraint to get this completed
2 days.
so that we will have coverage. Is it conceivable that we could, I intend to approve it based on an understanding that we can discuss at a later date removing that particular clause and receive a credit? Am I correct or no?
That's typically the way it works with most insurance policies. If you change your coverage, you can get a credit. Secondly, is my understanding correct? So I see the $2,363 comes out of the general fund. Is the balance of it reimbursed from grants? And so our full total exposure here is $2,300.
He's talking about down the line though.
Well,
But I would suggest, as I said, I'll support this. But I would suggest, once approved, if approved, that we take a look and, those appropriate people take a look to see if in fact it would be worth their while. And if in fact he's right in, you know, in what this may incur for us, then we can take further action.
Last time, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm fine with that, Terry. The kicker is if you look at the actual rider, it caps the coverage at $10,000. So everything above that, we're on the hook for because we have coverage. So we're gonna be paying out of pocket if they have expenses above $10,000, which is the problem.
well, seems to me that the most prudent course of action is obviously to get something in effect because we're on a deadline. And I guess I would ask criminal justice to take a look at this, and we can ask our administration to make a few phone calls and get some more data. Anything else before I call for a vote? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed, same sign. Matter advances. Thank you. Administrator Murphy, if you would give us a quick rundown on the medical examiner deputy agreement.
Yep, a couple of months ago, you approved a contract with our forensic pathologist. Those are the individuals that are actually performing the autopsies on behalf of the medical examiner. When we moved those agreements forward, the forensic pathologist pushed back on them a bit because one of the requirements was that they provide their own insurance. So speaking of insurance, this is a day to talk about it. So what we ended up doing is trying to find out how to get insurance over the individuals that are performing a function on behalf of Lenawee County. MMRMA typically does not insure contracted employees. They only regular part-time, full-time employees will they insure. However, they did recognize a number of years ago that there are very few medical examiners left, and so municipalities were starting to contract for those kinds of services, which is something that we have been doing. And so MMRMA had made an exception for medical examiners in counties that are utilizing them under contract, and they do provide and extend liability coverage to those types of individuals in that profession. So as I had several phone calls with MMRMA and also working with the Jackson administration and our medical examiner's office to find out if counties are statutorily required to perform autopsies and medical examiners aren't necessarily the ones performing those autopsies, that we are having to contract with forensic pathologists to do so, then why can't the same coverage be extended as it was with the medical examiners? So we pulled up the statute under which the medical examiner's office is formed. And we also looked at the coverage that is extended by MMRMA. And after several phone calls and a number of meetings at the MMRMA level, they agreed that pursuant to the law and their rules, that if we were to call them deputy medical examiners, they could extend the coverage to the individuals who are performing the autopsies on behalf of the county. So we worked together to update the current agreement that had previously been approved. And there's a section on, I believe it's page 3, under the independent contractor status that talks about the Public Act and its requirement to, that the Board of Commissioners may appoint a deputy county medical examiner. And we also included a paragraph regarding MMRMA's position on contracted employees and specifically that of deputy medical examiners. This is something that MMRMA required and that we have in our agreement. And they also required that the agreement come back to you for formal board approval. Once those two things have been done, then they will go and the agreement has been signed, they will go ahead and extend the liability coverage to the individuals performing those functions. And in fact, after all the conversations that we had and this agreement was prepared, I did forward it to them for their review. And they would like to keep it on file in the event other counties are in the same situation, that they can extend a copy of what we have done to those other counties so that coverage can be extended to those individuals. So saying all of that, what you have before you today Is a request to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the professional services agreement for deputy medical examiners and to authorize Board Chairman Van Doren and Medical Examiner Mano to sign same.
So moved.
Is there a second? Support. Before we, is there any discussion? Commissioner Tillotson?
Yeah. It reminds me of quite a little of the Mitchell plan. And whether the Mitchell plan was, we were furnishing insurance for employees over and above. We got just an absolute wonderful, person in our drain commission. I certainly not trying to rattle his cage at all. But, when I first came here, we were paying insurance for his engineer. Pretty eminent about it. Took quite a little while. Finally got that straightened out. I see no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that. But I've still got that taste in my mouth. And I don't want that to come back and haunt us. Beyond that, I certainly don't know what's right and what's wrong. I do know that if you got insurance, you're on the right side of it, so, I just want to bring that up. It's the end of my conversation.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Collins?
My question is, assuming we appoint these people as deputy medical examiners, are they still contract employees or are they county employees?
They are still contract employees. And that was the discussion. I did not want to make them county employees to extend payroll, health insurance, all the other insurances. This is strictly for liability insurance and handling it the same way that we do the medical examiner because the Public Act allows for that to happen.
We share morgue with multiple counties, right? The expenses of the morgue. But do these people that we're talking about right now, they only perform work for county cases or others?
These individuals perform autopsies for a number of different counties. And our rate with them is spelled out in the agreement, which is $1,600 per autopsy.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Matter advances. This next one I will brief us on. We use Maximus Consulting to help prepare our annual cost allocation plan. It looks like they're offering to renew and extend their relationship with us with no increase in cost from where we've been in the past. Is there, and secondly, I just want to say, Kim, good work on the previous matter and getting RMA to come around to our perspective. I think that's good persistent work there. Now I'm mumbling all over myself. Anyways, is there a motion to recommend that we renew this agreement with Maximus U.S. Services for the amount of $11,750 and to authorize Chairman Van Doren to sign that contract? And moved and seconded. Any further questions? Oh, so we need a second. Oh, and, oh, Jim, Commissioner Daley supported. Okay, thank you. I didn't see that. Anything else before we vote? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. The next one brings joy to my small government heart. We've been operating with the Lenawee County Building Authority for a number of years. Apparently there's no longer any need for that entity. All the work that it had done, I guess there's been a change in rules as well going forward. So this is actually pretty simple. I would entertain a motion to recommend that the Board of Commissioners dissolve the Lenawee County Building Authority.
Support.
Any discussion? Commissioner Van Dorn.
Again, this is to the good credit of our administrator. She reviews these things all the time. These are one of those things that could be in existence for the next 40 years because everyone overlooks them, but that doesn't happen in our administrative department. So congratulations. Thanks for that, Kim.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. This next one's pretty straightforward, but before we act, we will have to vote to suspend our 2 review policy. The chiller in the judicial building has issues, and of course, that means they won't always be able to effectively air condition the space, which in the past has created procedural issues over there. So we need to take care of it quickly. The quote was for $14,873. Plus we're asking for $1,500 in contingency so that we can go ahead and get this done. So the first item of business would be, is there a motion to waive the 2 review policy for this action item?
So moved.
And moved Commissioner Blanco and seconded by Commissioner Van Dorn. Any discussion?
It's a 2/3 vote.
Yes, I think it does require a 2/3 vote. Roll call vote? Okay. Call for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Blanco,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Daly,
Yes.
Commissioner Krasny,
Yes.
Commissioner Martis.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Tilton,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Dorn,
Yes.
Commissioner Ongst,
Yes.
9 yea.
Thank you. Rule is waived. Do I have a motion to recommend the proposal from Trained in the amount of $16,373?
Support.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Commissioner Collins?
Well, I think, this is gonna be more to the point when warmer air comes, and even next week, I see we have a day that's up in the low 80s. Probably sooner the better.
And I do want to make clear that $1,500 of that included the contingency fund. Administrator Murphy?
I also wanted to point out I'm hopeful that the recommendation is to also authorize the necessary budget adjustment associated with this. This is not a budgeted item. We are looking for it to come out of the fund balance of the Building and Site Division in the capital fund. So if we take care of that included in the motion now, we don't have to worry about coming back later and doing another budget adjustment.
I will stipulate that be included in my motion.
There's still support? Still support. Okay. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. The next issue in front of us is our jail contracts with Via Path Technologies for inmate telephone calls, visitation, and tablets. Effective April 2026, the FCC imposed a cap on how much money can be collected per minute on telephone calls and video visits. Prior to this ruling, inmates were charged 21 cents per minute for a telephone call, and video visitation was 25 cents per minute. The new cap on inmate telephone calls is 13 cents per minute, and video visitation is 21 cents. This is a revenue-generating contract. The sheriff's office receives commissions on use of the technology. As a result of the decrease in rates, it is anticipated there will be a loss of revenue to the county. In an attempt to offset the lost revenue, Captain Casey negotiated for a higher commission on use of inmate tablets, as well as a signing bonus. Via Path has agreed to enhance tablet commissions from 20% to 50% and has offered a $20,000 signing bonus in exchange for a 3-year contract extension. The request before us is to recommend extending our contract with Via Path under the new terms and to authorize Captain Randy Casey to sign to the Board of Commissioners. Is there a motion to that effect?
Vote.
Support. Been moved and supported. Any discussion? Commissioner Van Dorn.
So does that offset that there will be no increase then coming out of the general fund?
No, there will probably still be a slight decrease in revenue coming in, even with the negotiated terms. We're just not able to identify the amount because it'll depend on jail population, use of tablets, use of phones. There's a lot of factors going into it. So we are just gonna have to make some estimates when we go into the budget on the revenue side. But it does, through his negotiated terms, it does make up for a good portion of that.
Any other questions? And thank you to Captain Casey for his work in trying to find a way to recover this revenue. Seeing no other comments, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. The last item of business comes from Physical Resources, I think. This is a budgeted expense. The excavator that the Drain Commission is looking to replace has reached the end of its service life. Commissioner Scheffler's worked hard and is able to bring a proposal that allows us to add an additional attachment to the very low 1.39% financing rate from Case New Holland. So to that end, we're asking that we recommend that the Board of Commissioners approve the purchase of a 2026 Case CX 190E excavator with thumb and drum mulcher attachments per Southeastern Equipment Company, and to authorize borrowing from Case Manufacturers Financing for 60% at 1.39%.
60 months.
60 months, excuse me, financing not to exceed $279,932.28. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion, any questions? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign, matter advances. Is there any other Ways and Means business? Any additional items for the consent agenda? Seeing none, we now have open public comment. Is there any public comment on any issue? Sheriff?
Just wanted to give you up to date on that. Corinne, her party or going away thing will be on the Wednesday on the 20th at 11 o'clock. Just wanted to throw that out there. Also, today is her birthday. So, and on a separate note, it is police week, Police Memorial Week, and Police Memorial Day will be on Friday. And we will have the service at 11 o'clock at Oakwood Cemetery. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Do you have any idea the length of Corinne's open house?
What's that?
Corinne's open house, Sheriff, because I'll be in a meeting in Ann Arbor. That starts at 10 o'clock.
I'll let her know.
And I
Thank you.
will do, unfortunately, that's Michigan Work Southeast, so. And I've got, okay, just give her our best. I've worked with Corinne and,
It was put together pretty quickly.
yeah, I appreciate all she's done, but
Thank you.
I'll send her a letter. Okay.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any other public comment? Commissioner comment? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Is there a second? Commissioner Daley seconded.
Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign.